So what happens if you want to delay the spawns of a single wave? Requested by Kokushibo, today we're going to talk about exactly that. And you can't do it. The video's over. On to the next one. This is what I would say if I weren't Zechariah. Well, yes, as far as any scripting nodes, techniques, and other videos I've seen goes, there's really no way to delay the different spawners from spawning at different times within a single wave due to not being able to plug in any nodes that can affect this part of a wave. But we can still make it happen. But if there's no way to script it, how are we going to do it? Well, like my last tutorial, I will create a script that simulates what we need to do, effectively doing exactly what we want without actually doing it. Come on in and find out. Alright, the map setup. For the map setup, we're going to do a little bit more than the last few tutorials for sure. We're going to do it to where you can see what's going on, so I'm going to place a couple of spawners here. A couple of AI spawners, just like we always kind of start with. Go over here, place this. I'm going to go ahead and set these two up, and I'll skip to the end. The only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change the team so that way they don't kill me, so that way you can see what's going on and we can kind of demonstrate it. And I'm going to keep the squad name to Alpha out. That's important because we will be using squad labels again. And that's pretty much it. That's all we have to do. So we have our spawners set up. I've got a brute warlord and an elite ultra on this one and this one, so they have the same thing. I just kind of duplicated to make things simpler. But these will spawn under the squad of Alpha. Here's where we get into how we create our delay. So what you want to do is create pointers. So we go over here to gameplay scripting and grab that pointer right here. There we go. And this is where your spawn points are going to be for your delayed wave. We want it where we can see it, so we're going to place one here. And place another right here. There we go. Because we'll have enough time to walk around and watch them spawn here, and we'll be able to watch them spawn here. We're going to name these. This one will be delay 1. And of course, this one will be delay 2. And there you have it. Those will be very important. These act as these, essentially. This is where you're going to spawn your delayed troops. So now we get down to the business. We get down here to creating our delayed troops. You're going to create an AI spawner. Go figure. And you generally just set these up with the troops that you want to spawn later. So if you want hunters to spawn later in the wave, the same wave, you can set this up, and that's what I'll do. I'll set up a hunter and something else, and I'll set up 4 spawners with a couple of units. But I'm gonna skip to the end of it, and we'll talk about the things we need to change on this one. Okay, so our spawners are set up, and the only thing we need to change that you need to be aware of that's different than regularly setting them up is the squad label on these need to be Bravo. These will go to our first spawn point above the stairs. And these need to be Charlie, because these will spawn under the stairs at the bottom near the trees. You see where we're going with that. The different squads will spawn in the 2 different locations. And I'll have 2 troops set up on each one. I'm not sure exactly which ones I set up where. There's so many now. But the last thing we need to do down here is we need to make sure there is a nav mesh set up. I do this every video when I have the dummy spawns or whatever I have, but it's good that everybody knows if they're watching the different videos, because they may not have seen the previous tutorial and so on. So now that we place that, because we have to have it for them to be able to spawn in the first place, we're going to go ahead and build our nav mesh. And the reason why you have it like this is because it's like a little waiting area. Because I'll go ahead and explain it. The AI will spawn all at the same time. There is no spawn delays. But we can simulate this by creating a way that they spawn and then arrive at a certain point on your map when you want them to, and the delay that you choose. So they need a waiting area, a place that they can be where they can't access the move zone they're assigned, which they are all assigned a move zone, the same as the ones up top with Alpha. They're all, because they're all part of the same wave, they would go to the same place unless you want to change that, but that's all up to you. But that's what you want to do. You have to have a little waiting zone, and you want to make sure it's outside of your map, as usual, where it can't interact with anything and players can't see it and they can't get to the move zones. With that, all we have to do is go to our scripting, and it's not as complicated as you might think. So I already have my waves set up, and I have a tutorial on how to set up your waves and all that good stuff. But I have my one wave set up, and it's ready to spawn. So now that we've got past that, I'm going to show you how to script this thing up to do what we want. So to start, we're going to need to get an event, as we always start with. This one we're going to go events AI and on squad spawned with squad label. Change the settings of this one to Bravo. This will be our first delay. And we're going to grab this, which is our first spawn. We're going to drag it in there with us by pressing Y. This is our object reference. This is important for later. So to create the delay, well, we grabbed what we use to delay things, the wait for n seconds. And this is where you determine the delay that you want. So after my squad spawns, or my wave, it spawns about 2 seconds after I do. So I'm going to set this to 5 seconds. So it'll be 5 seconds after the first one spawned. So that's our delay. Now we need to get a way to do it to the entire squad. And that's where we go back into the logic category and grab a for each object node. And we're going to connect them like that. To get the objects, which is the AI units from that squad, we go up here to the AI basic, and we just get AI units from squad, and we just hook it up accordingly, which is squad to squad and AI units to objects. Okay, so how do we get them to go? Well, here's where something neat comes in. This is the workaround. We go down here to units, and we grab teleport unit at the very bottom. Now we do execute per object, so we're going to do it for every single unit in Bravo. And then the position is where we're going. The pointer, that's important. We're going to move that up here. To get that, we're going to the tab called Objects Transform, and we're going to grab one called Get Object Position. Place this here. And we just plug in position here, and then plug our object in here, which is our delay 1. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, if you want them to spawn at that second one, we simply duplicate this. Okay, so I actually duplicated this when I didn't need to, because we're going over here and we're gonna grab it and pull it into our script by pressing Y. There we go. This is delay 2. We plug that in, and we also need to change a couple other things. This, we're going to change it to Charlie. There we go. And that's it. That's all you have to do, and we're ready to test this thing out. A successful build is always a good sign. Oh, well, there's our first wave. Where's our second? Ah, there they are. Isn't that something? It worked just fine. Notice they started to move toward the move zone, so everything works fine. Now, there's something neat that I'm going to go ahead and show you. Is on your second squad, you can actually change the delay to create a second delayed wave inside the single wave you have. So we're going to set this to 10 seconds. So now these will spawn after 5, and then these will spawn after 10. So let's give it a look. Our first set, our delay, and then There we go. That's it. That's how you do it. It's that simple. And you can do this for as many squads as you can set up, and you can reserve squads for other scripts you may use, because there's a ton of squads and they all interact with the move zones correctly and with the nav mesh, and there's no issues. So with that, you effectively have a delayed spawn within a single wave of AI. So there you have it. We successfully created a delayed spawn within just a single wave.
They called me a madman.
There's a clever way to use this so that it appears like an AI spawns while in the vehicle they're in too, which is similar to in Halo ODST, and sometimes in some of the maps, the Wraith would just spawn without being dropped off by a Phantom. Which reminds me, we haven't really gotten into AI vehicles yet, have we? Well, the next tutorial is one I've been seeing people wanting to know since AI's dropped into Forge, myself included. So keep your eyes peeled, stay frosty, it's gonna be a good one.